All right, good morning. This is live from the barbecue department at Wannemakers. I am Steve Crest, grill department manager here at Wannemakers, the epicenter of grilling in the western suburbs of the beautiful city of Chicago, located in the fantastic suburb of Downers Grove, Illinois. And we're coming to you live across the It's All About the Barbecue network. And welcome everybody to another show number 115. And it is Halloween. So, as I said last week, hey, Gene, how are you? As I said last week, what a perfect match for Halloween would be my good friend Paul from Smokin BBQ, because after all, it's a scary looking product. Ooh, boo. Yeah, I know. That's my Halloween dramatics. Hey, Greg. Greg's also on. So we've had Paul on here a bunch of times before. So it's always a good opportunity to catch up with him every once in a while just to see what he's doing, because not only does he make some great products, but he is right now rocking the competition scene too. So we'll have to do a little conversation about what's happening in the competition world for Paul, because he did pretty good at the Royal. He's done good on a couple other competitions that I've seen out there. He's putting up some good numbers. So let's bring in Mr. Paul Buob, Smokin BBQ. Paul, welcome back to the show. How are you today?
I'm excellent. Thanks for having me on.
So you've been quite busy, my friend. You are not only cranking out the products, but you're, I think you were just, if I remember correctly, you were just in New Jersey.
Yeah, that was, a lot of times you get caught up in competition and kind of the chase, the competitive side of a cook, and things like the drive, get set aside. Yeah. Well, the good news about driving to New Jersey, you got 14 hours to enjoy the ride. And unless you're the hardest of hearts, you're going to, especially in October, right? That drive through Ohio and Pennsylvania was just absolutely stunning. I actually slowed down, which you never see me do on a barbecue trip. And I actually re-enabled Google. Hopefully it doesn't do it now, but to take pictures while I drive from the dash.
Yeah.
Because it was just so gorgeous. I mean, it was, never do I usually say I'm going to a competition to relax,
Yeah.
Especially when you got 10 turn-ins over 48 hours,
Yeah, I agree. Well, that does happen. I mean, a lot of people fly and they do all this other stuff. I, for one, I don't like flying, so as most people don't know. So I do drive everywhere, and especially being in the great state of Illinois and actually being up here in the Chicago metro area, a lot of people don't realize that once you get out of the metro areas into some of the backer areas of the country, how gorgeous the country actually is, and the beautiful scenery that you get to see. People forget that how gorgeous everything is.
Yeah, no, it was, I tell you what, when I arrived in New Jersey, although it was a long drive, I was relaxed and focused. And, this year I keep a logbook with everything. And I realize that's as much mentally in the game as anything else, if you're at the last minute trying to rush everything together, trying to get this, trying to get that and show up, you're probably not going to be in the best of execution. It's just, right. You gotta be relaxed and ready to focus.
Well, your good friend Gene Boldman says hi. I know you guys are good friends and know each other, and but he says he shouts out a good hi to you.
Hey, Gene.
So yeah, obviously been on here a bunch of times before, but for those of you who don't know Paul, if you want to just do a little recap of how you started, what got you into the barbecue, and then we'll march on from there.
Yeah, as Dr. Barbecue says, Paul, be more concise. So I'll try to be more concise. We really got, barbecue found us is the best way to say it. We complained to an athletic director about some equipment, and next thing you know, we're in the concession stand. And if you know me, I'm a data guy. Mm-hmm. So immediately looking at things like, well, how much are we charging for these ribeyes and what's our margin? And, people are looking at me like, who is this a-hole,
Right.
Oh, we love the ribeyes. I go, I do too, but how much do we make? Anyway, cut the story short, eventually people allowed me to make changes. We tenderized the pork chops, and all of a sudden we saw better margin on the pork chops. And then in one of the meetings, somebody's like, who knows pulled pork? And I look around, nobody raises their hand. So I raise my hand and say, I'll try. It can't be that hard. And that's really where it started, in the concession stand at the Chillicothe High School, which is home of the IDC Gray Ghosts. So I think the best news is that I listen to people, which I don't always do, as you know. I listened to a buddy of mine, Kenny. We were talking about, somebody says, you should go compete. And I'm like, huh? Like pit masters, of course, I like to win. So competing without knowledge is not a recipe to win. But you're goaded by your friend. Oh, your stuff's great. And so, okay. So we tried to come up with a team name, and, we're from Chillicothe, which we had a lot of gravel pits down here. And we just bought a barbecue trailer. So it's a barbecue pit. So I was thinking our team name ought to be the Chili Pits. And I was dead set on that with the double entendre. And Kenny just kind of looked at me with his straight face and says, well, that's a good name. Or you could go with like the Smoking Ghosts. And I'm like, well, that doesn't suck. But that's how the team got started. 4 of us got together. We bought a trailer for the high school. And next thing you know, people are goading us to go compete. And, several thousands and thousands of dollars later,
Right.
I outlasted the rest of the team most of the time.
So you weren't one of those that did went in on one of your first or second competitions, got a win, and that kind of got you hooked and this and that. You kind of took a longer route you were just stubborn.
Yeah, very stubborn, and that's kind of been a testament to who I am, unfortunately, and not in a good way. I'm a creature of habit. I'm a statistician, so you need a lot of data points to validate a change, kind of thing. And so it took me a while. For example, if you got to put sauce on your barbecue back in the day, your barbecue must not be that good. Well, eventually took a judging class, and I was like, okay. Everybody sauced. They sauced brisket. I'm like, are you kidding me? So there was a lot of things in my mind that were blown, right? And we conformed and started to change. And it was our second year that we got a call. I think it was a 5th place call in Assumption, Illinois, in pork of all things. And, as they say, then the hook was set harder, and then we got out of the weather, bought a trailer and a Jambo, and haven't looked back.
So we got a good old Facebook user saying good morning to me and you. Obviously, I don't know who you are. If you do sign in, please let StreamYard use they're not going to send you anything. You're not going to get blasted with mail or anything like that, but it just allows us to see who's talking to us. And then Griddles and Viddles with Nick and Jay, they made it. Good afternoon, gentlemen, they say. They were up here just recently for the griddle battle that was over there in Yorkville. And
Met them in Eureka.
Good time.
Met them in Eureka. Great couple. Great dog, too.
No, and they do a lot of obviously I get the It's All About the Barbecue group, and we do the nightly dinner winners and stuff, and they post up some pictures of some pretty darn good looking food in there. So they're good barbecue ambassadors, barbecue griddle ambassadors, I guess you could say, because I guess barbecue is part of. Another Facebook user says, good morning, gents. Again, please try to let them use your Facebook stuff so we know, so we can be more personal and say hi to everything. All right, so you're rocking and rolling in the barbecue world. You're getting started, this and that, and then you came up with how you did it. I don't know, but you came up with one of the best rubs I know. The Smokin' Ghost rub, obviously originally was called brisket rub. Now it's all-purpose rub because it's good on just about everything, and it is a fantastic rub.
Yeah, that when we first started at concession stand, we were grabbing all kinds of commercial stuff, and Lowry's was big on the pork chops, and I felt it was missing something. My dad was a cook in the Army. I was never a cook unless you take Hardee's as a role. That would be it. But so I just felt it was missing something, and without any knowledge, I started playing over a period of a year and a half, and I ended up going up. We were in Lake Geneva, downtown Geneva, and there was a spice shop, and I think it was Geneva Spices, to be honest with you. and I was in there, and the wives were all shopping, spending my retirement income, and I was looking for, something, because what I wanted with whatever I did was a little bit of sweet up front and a little bit of heat on the back end, But a lot of times, if you don't know what you're doing, which I didn't, you get both at the same time, and the heat always wins. So how do you get a little bit of that late heat was kind of the game plan. And so I was sitting there staring at the wall. I was in there for like 40 minutes staring at the wall. And the gentleman there came to me twice and said, "Do you need help?" Finally, the third time, he says, "What are you trying to do?" And I told him. He goes, "Well, you need, white pepper." I said, "Okay, I'll take some." He goes, "Which one?" I'm like, I don't know. So we sat down and worked through some of those. And, at home we played with it. And then I took it over to Excalibur. And what I didn't expect with the co-packers, they're going to make it better, right? I was joking. I thought, man, I was just hoping it would be like 90% of what I gave you. I didn't expect it to be like 150%. And they explained to me how fresh their ingredients are, how quick they turn their supply. And, so it was just an eye opener. And, to your point on the label, I knew nothing about really owning a business, your own business or even marketing. I was an IT guy and a data guy. And so we came out, and I really wanted it for brisket because my brisket scores were bad. And I assumed couldn't be me as the cook that knew nothing on how to cook a brisket. It had to be the rub, right? I mean, like any good cook, it had to be something that wasn't my accountability. And so that's where the rub was started. And so we were going to call it, the brisket rub. And at the last minute, being the marketing new genius that I am, I called it steak and brisket because the SEA was just going gangbusters in 17, 18. And so I thought, boy, am I a smart guy. I called it steak and brisket. And,
right.
Little did I know that it was an all-purpose rub. We submitted it into my buddies were all telling me, "Have you tried it on corn? Have you tried it on seafood?" And again, the marketing genius that I am, I'm telling guys, it's a steak and brisket rub. It's not meant for corn. It's not meant for seafood. It's not meant for that. You're using it wrong. Think that one through, right? How many marketing companies tell them, "Don't use our drinks, don't use our soda and those things, only use it for the," and yeah, again, stubborn, if you noticed me. So really, to prove them wrong, I submitted it into the seafood category at the National Barbecue Association. And I thought, when it gets hammered, I'll show them, "See, guys, it's not a seafood rub." It won the category. And I just sat back, and it was one of those moments in life when you realize how wrong you are and how, narrow you are. And it really did change a lot of things beyond just barbecue about me. And so I sat back and, I realized I had something, and it was really not that we won. It's just a listing of all the products and the manufacturers that were below us, right? I was like, wow, those are the big names, right? And there were so many names. I just sat there and kind of in guffaw. And it took me probably a month just to get out of my shock that we did so well. And then, learning how to lean into that social media. I'm still not there. I'm doing better, but, I'm 60 years old and social media is an afterthought to me. And I know a lot of people rock it. I'm learning to crawl with it, and I don't take enough photos. I don't post enough, all that stuff. But anyway, so that's how the rub came out. And then we eventually changed the name. There was a brief period where it was called Ghost Powder. And Jonathan Rowe's daughter came up and said, Daddy, is that the guy with the ghost powder? And it was one of those moments. I'm like, oh, great, that's the new name. Well, as much as I love the storyline behind that, too many calls from stores. I mean, you and others are calling me, Paul, people think it's got ghost pepper by calling it ghost powder. So, we have a few thousand stickers that are no longer used. And we changed it just to straight all-purpose rub. Because, that in the end, you learn, by your mistakes. And so we had if you got one of those, you might want to keep them because not many people will have them. I wouldn't use the rub, though, after 2 years. I'd probably get a new bottle. But so that's how the product name evolved, right? So
that's it, right? Evolution. Yeah, you had one of those moments like when you were a teenager and you realized that you really didn't know everything and that maybe you should listen to other people and it's to your advantage to do that. And yeah, trust me, I've been through that with a lot of things myself. What do you got on here? Nick and Jay said thank you for all the kind words. Gene also says he loves it on popcorn. I can imagine it'd be a great popcorn song. Nick and Jay then also mentioned, if I can get this to switch, what's going on here? There it is. That they got a bottle of it in Eureka, and they said it's awesome. Our friend Roy is, boy, my computer's going slacky today. If anybody I might be. All right, well, Nick and Jay's comment is stuck up because I can't get it to come down. Well, that's how it goes sometimes. Well, you and I with technology both, Paul.
Yeah.
It's stuck. So anyway, so we're stuck with that comment for a little bit until I can figure out how to get it off of there. But anyway, so then you had an opportunity came along. One of our good friends, Eric from BBQ. Oh, there he goes. Roy saying good morning. Facebook user says happy Halloween. Our good friend Craig out there in LA says hello. And then Greg wanted to know, are you going to the BBQ conference at the end of January through February 3rd?
I believe I will be at NBBQ. I got 2 more weeks in the competition. I'm trying to start to lay out what I'll call the marketing tours and that. We're gonna back off each year over the last couple of years. Last year was a crazy year, but this year we cooked less. Next year I intend to cook less, so there'll be more time for the marketing and the product side of it, and in the stores, getting around more. I really do enjoy that. It's just difficult with a new house and building a new shed, and we got 5 acres, so my wife's getting tired of doing all the work on the property. So I've got to spend a little more time at home. But we're gonna work more on the product side of the house next year. So that is a high priority next year. I am going to go to the steak championships. Went up to Door County and cooked my first steak in 2 years and got a golden ticket. So nice. Chiefs Curd Cartel kind of goaded me on and guided me through that. We actually, so not really announcing yet, but we have another version of the rub coming out probably in the next 30 days. We're literally down to the wire with labels and RFPs and all that production. But I had tried to use Tim and Sandy's approach on the first cook, and let's just say it wasn't good flattery. I didn't like it. And it took me 3 practice steaks, before the final one to even cook a steak right again, because I'd been so rusty. And but on the final one, I went over to Paul Perpich and said, you know what? I didn't like anything I've cooked today so far, temperature, flavor, anything. I'm just going to use my new rub, and play with it. At the very end, I added a little, the barbecue guys will chuckle. I had a little Cimarron Docks on the Spinella, just to give it a little more sweetness. And we got a golden ticket there. So I was already on the ferry when I got a call from Paul. Hey, you got a golden ticket. And I thought they were pulling my leg, but literally it was a little bit like, I don't know, like Harry Met Sally. He was trying to pull up to the ferry with my golden ticket as it was pulling away. So, but yeah, so we're going to get down to Fort Worth for the championships, and we'll come up with logos and that, and some shirts. We'll have fun with that. It'll be my first time really getting to spend a lot of time with the steak guys, because I started there way back when, actually at Fort Worth with the NBBQA and the steak cooks there, where I met Johnny Joseph. That was really kind of my first foray. So it'll be good to get back to kind of the steak for a weekend, for a week maybe. That'll be fun.
And then this Facebook user, who I know who it is just because of the name Hollywood, which is they reference me as, for turning them on to Smokin' Ghost. That is my good friend Kelly. She came in this year and bought a Traeger grill, and she's been killing it with what she's been cooking on it. And she came in wanting to know what to use on her first brisket, and this and some White Lightning is the first thing I sent her off with, and turned out pretty well, I guess. Though she's never let me have a sample of it, so obviously it must be good enough to
take her word for it.
Yeah, did I have to just take her word for it? I never see any picture. Well, no, I think she did send a picture, but I never get to taste any of it. So we'll see how maybe next time she can, maybe spare some for us poor beggars on. So anyway, so back to what we were talking about, you had opportunity. Before I get to that, did you enter into the? I was watching last night. It's all about the barbecue. The barbecue news had their top 10 best rubs.
Oh yeah, that was Kel's barbecue news. I did not enter that. Yeah, no, I have on my phone a lot of reminders because when you're running in barbecue and everything, you forget when the dates are and all that. I usually make them annual, so they keep popping up. And apparently I didn't make that one annual, so I was not in that. But a lot of my good friends did really well up there,
Yeah, there's a lot of good names. Needless to say, Trisha and I was watching, Trisha was watching, I don't know, Blacklist or something. And of course, I'm sitting there watching the show, and I got my list out, and I'm writing down every single rub that won and every single name just in case I can. It's a good way to find products that you want on this monstrosity back here. So I got a few names on there that look like they might be something that might be worthwhile coming on the wall. But we'll look forward to maybe seeing you at the NBBQA Awards. We'll see. Hopefully, you get some wins. Hopefully with sauces.
Yeah, the story on that, as is that's Eric was getting out of barbecue, and he moved down here, and we were hanging out for a while, and he really wanted to get all the way out, and I was trying to hold him back. You think that now, but maybe in 6 months you want, or a year. And he was dead set to get out and move on. So ended up buying the recipes, moved them down south to Country Bob's, the co-packer down there, and started out with the sweet because that was my favorite, and that's what I was using on chicken. And so it was kind of fun to get that started. And as a learning process, I have nothing to do with the name. I went to social media and solicited 100% of that. Now, I told everybody, try and keep it in the family, try and keep it streamlined, goes, 100 heats. We want to put the name, the color of the top, all that was social media. It cost me only some merchandise, that I shipped out to folks. But yeah, that's kind of how I've learned, Steve, is that the marketing genius I am, I should lean on social media and not myself. But the Haunted Heat was one that really surprised me because that was the BBQ Spicy back in the day. And, and Eric and I were the ones doing the testing on that. So, I'd go over to his place and I'd do double blinds on him so he wouldn't know, et cetera. And we were getting close on the sweet. We finally nailed it. The heat, they shipped us the first batch, and I got a note from Nate. He goes, "Paul, I apologize. We missed on this one. Give us your feedback, and we'll get it right on the second run." Well, it was different, but it was different good, right? And if you remember when I was talking about that rub the first time, I wanted the sweet with a little heat, and it was kind of sneaky, right? And that's it's just different, right? There's not a lot of sauces that I know on the market. There's a couple similar, but there's not a lot in the market that do exactly that. And I tell people it's not a hot sauce, right? But it wants to be. It acts like it coming out of the gate. It wants to be a hot sauce, but it just doesn't get there. And people are always apprehensive, right? But yeah, that one came to me with kind of a notation that we missed it. We'll get right the next time. And both, Eric and I were like, wow, don't you change a damn thing. So they got it right on the very first try, which was amazing.
That's good. Yeah, they're both fantastic sauces, and like I said, what is more perfect for Halloween than a sauce that's spooky, sweet, and haunted heat? I mean, that's there's Halloween right there, Halloween in the bottle, and it's really good. Well, so if anybody's in the area, swing by.
And again on marketing, we'd make it through like Labor Day, and I'm like, made it through the inventory push, trying to manage, the reorders and the cash flows and all that. And then all of a sudden, in the first 3 years, we got this huge push, and I couldn't figure out what's going on. And it was kind of bimodal, right after the year, right before Halloween and right before Christmas. And I'm like, everybody's barbecuing in the winter. Well, it was obviously the Smoking Ghost name, so it was a big ghost thing. And then the other key thing was stocking stuffers. I didn't realize how much these are. Any kind of rubs and sauces are great stocking stuffers. So Yeah, I mean,
Right.
and of course now I'm a data guy, so I track all that and I'm prepared. But early on, it caught me off guard.
Yeah, I can imagine. Let's see, Facebook user. That's Kelly again, smiling because we were talking about her. Kelly actually runs the open mic night here at the local pub here in Brookfield on Wednesday nights, and I used to go watch that all the time. And if you're looking for a fun night just to hear some music, it's over in Brookfield. Look it up, Pub 78. They do an open mic night. Good old Adam. Adam's coming to us from Germany. He says, "Good evening, Stephen friend." And then he also wanted to let me know that he loves the Smoke and Go seasoning. It's his favorite to cook with because I have shipped that over there a couple times. So you are on your product is hitting an air base in Germany there, Paul, just so you know. Oh, I'm stuck again. There we go. And then Emlyn says, yes, it is. It's perfect for Halloween. So, so everything went well, and then you decided you're going to retire. You did that last year. You started the retirement tour, which you did fantastic on last year. I think it allowed you to qualify for the Royal this year and all that other good stuff. And how did retirement tour number 2 go so far this year?
Different. The first, I don't know. We started out in Arizona. Then we went to Florida for a couple, then North Carolina, then Georgia, and that's how we started the year. And of those contests, I think I got and then Nashville. I think I got a 5th and a 3rd was the highest finish that I had. And I mean, I own my cook. It probably wasn't the best cooks I've had, but I was landing on, on a 51 team contest. I was landing on the bottom 4 tables. It was, you just couldn't predict, where I was going to land. And, you can outcook a bottom, one of the bottom 4 tables. You can't outcook the bottom 4 tables at a large contest. And it just seemed like, if it weren't for bad luck, I'd have no luck at all, kind of mentality. So the one in North Carolina was a 4-table contest, and I ended up 5th. And you get on your own case, you get on your own mental when, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing this? And, so, and you can't blame everything on the tables and the judges, it's a part of it,
right.
But you can't continue to land on the bottom 4 tables at contests and expect to do well, especially in large contests, right? Now, I do seek out smaller contests. If you see me at a big contest, it's usually rare. I mean, there's ones I want to go to. Obviously, the Royals one, and the Invitational. I'll probably head back next year. The one Sip and Swan, I really enjoy that. But I love the 25 to 28 table contest. They had a new one in Ohio, and I was dead set I wanted to be there. And those guys marketed right. They said, if you don't get your jack call, well, if you get a jack call, we'll refund your money. I'm like, well, there's no risk, right? So I didn't get the jack call, which was a bummer. But we ended up in Ohio, right? So, and we ended up winning that one. And, so it's kind of like, well, it's the best of the other world. I get a draw for next year's jack. So, but yeah, I mean, but it was like a 20-ish team contest. Again, I like my odds at a 4-table contest. I just seems like this year I've not, I have changed a lot during the year in terms of the recipes a bit and process. But, when you hang out with number 1, Jordan Kirkpatrick, you're going to get better, right? And you get a lot of feedback on perspective and even the mental aspect of the game. So, hanging out with Jordan and Triple H and those guys, the Rusty Pigs and QU and, I know Sean didn't cook much this year, but, we tend to chat on the way home from contests a lot. So, you get a lot of support, good, on the good days and on the bad days, you get a lot of feedback. But yeah, it was just a different year. It really started to turn around in Nashville. I thought we had a really good cook and I thought we could win it. I know it's hard to say with an 83 team field, but it came down to brisket. We ended up 3rd, even though we got a perfect score, but it was all 3 were Illinois teams. So it was pretty cool, down in Nashville to see 1, 2, and 3 all Illinois teams in a stacked field like that. But my son, he recently moved to North Carolina. So, I had him at the Royal, and I delegate a lot to him because he's truly the culinary guy in the family. So on taste and even on appearance in the boxes, I'll show them designs that these are acceptable. Do not let me make changes at the last minute, which I always do. Because I don't always make the right changes. So he really helped a lot at the Royal, which is why the scores were better at the Royal. I mean, to get a perfect score at the Royal was certainly unexpected. And then, of course, you realize you were this close to a square trophy, and you're like, oh, those moments aren't going to come around a lot, right? So, but then all the controversy, we went from second on Sunday to third on Monday, to back to second on Thursday, and then certainly Jordan, Kirkpatrick with Janky Leg and Machete Boys, man, that was a mess. But, I think they got it right. But that's also one of the reasons I put my name in for the board of directors for KCBS.
Nice.
So I've been nominated. I've accepted it. I filled out the paperwork. I don't know if they're going to make me a candidate or not. The nominating committee, there's a lot of talk on that. I'm not the expert on that, but I guess how you answer the essay questions determines whether you're a candidate. So they do ask about your skills and all. So I hope to be on a slate of candidates, for the board of directors, because our number one problem in KCBS, as you see it, is trying to grow the sport, right? Grow the membership, grow the sport, and grow it in a profitable manner, not just grow for the sake of growing. There's a lot of things in KCBS I think we got right, and there's some things right now that we have some opportunity in. So, but that's the KCBS side of the house. But I don't know. That's all the more recent stuff. The new product coming out, the board of directors. We got the new. We got some new gift box coming out here shortly. I've got those, trying to get them in the next couple of weeks. We're heading down to Louisiana this week to try and stay in the hunt for the Jealous Devil chase. I keep telling people we're not mathematically eliminated. We're behind, but we're not mathematically eliminated. And we've been cooking better in the last part of the year, so I'll take it, week by week. But that's a pretty big payout. It's $50K to the winners and $35 to first. So it's it's kind of worth taking a swing at that.
Yeah, I agree. Greg's bringing up, talking about what you were saying about recruiting and stuff like that. He says, if you are a candidate to the KCBS, I'd like to see a mentoring program for new teams. And I just to add to that, I had Chris Marks on a couple of weeks ago, and we were talking about how he started and how things have changed. And it just makes you wonder with where the competition has gone. That I think you're seeing a lot more, obviously a lot more older teams, a lot more middle-aged teams that have been around, but you don't see a lot of new teams. And I wonder if has a lot in part just as where the competition's gone to where, like he was saying, if you're not cooking Wagyu, you're not even in, not in it. Well, a Wagyu brisket can cost you $300 or so. And then you got to cook 2 or 3 of those. Now you're almost $900 in, and that's just for your brisket. That a lot of the newer teams might be looking like, well, geez, I don't have $2,000 to dump just to, between that and the ribs and the pork shoulders and the chicken and all that other. I don't have $2,000 to drop. That if there should be like a similar to Greg's point, like a minor leagues where these guys don't feel like they have to go out and where maybe Wagyu's not allowed, where it's more of to get these guys in there just to get them used to competing, and maybe let them win and not have to that they coming out of the gate they got to drop $3,000 or $2,000 just to get into something.
Yeah, and I in my note to KCBS, my answers to the question, they kind of ask you what's your strategy. Well, and I said my strategy is to develop a strategy. Right. I mean, to create a portfolio, do voice of the customer, voice of the business. Where are we? Where do we want to be? Build a portfolio of opportunities. But certainly growing KCBS is very important. And I absolutely agree. I mean, you can be a doomsday kind of guy and look at the number of contests, number of teams, and see the decline, right? Mm-hmm. And, it's natural that you're going to have some decline. To your point, there's not the new, the cost to enter and the
Mm-hmm.
knowledge to enter, right, is not coming with it. So, we did a double rib burn down here in Chillicothe. I know we did one up in Yorkville. I really believe blurring the line between the backyard and the pro, right, and creating 1, 2, and 3 meat cooks is where it needs to go. I'm not saying that the 4 meat category should go away by any means. I think that's, but I got the hook set. I wasn't buying Wagyu back in the day, and the hook for me got set with a commodity pork butt, right? I didn't know enough to know about the Duroc and all that, but I think the rib burns are great. I think chicken burns are great. I think you can even have it if you do like a 3 meat contest, just don't have brisket, and that's how you get people in, right? And then maybe to your point, you have like it'd have to be, I think, a competitor series where you provide the meats, right? And you got folks like Tischler's who would probably step up to doing one of the meats, and we can get some of the meat markets, each one to pick up the meats, and give us a good price on that or something like that. But I really see that we're going to have to do something with the formula, to grow. Doing the same thing and expecting different results is, the definition of insanity, right?
Right.
And I do not doubt the economy has a major factor. I won't doubt that. But I think you're naive if you rest on that. If that's your excuse, then you'll never get better, right? I think we have to go out and do some things to like shake it up a bit, right? Make it more attractive, right? That's my honest opinion. I mean, when I was up in Wisconsin cooking with the Cheese Curd Cartel, I mean, they're doing all kinds of fun ancillaries and that, and it's the sport. It doesn't have to be those 4 meats all the time, right? So the griddle battle, right? The griddle battle, a great example, right? So when those guys, started talking about it, guys, I'm aboard. I'm sponsored. I'll do whatever you want, right? Because I love the concept. And then we sat down. Well, what are the rules? Well, that's the difference. We had to figure some stuff out, brainstorm. But I mean, that kind of newness and creativity, I think, is what we need to stir the pot just a bit, right? To attract people that don't want to drop $2,000. I mean, there's not a lot of people that are going to go out in their first 5 comps and get a return on investment. In fact, right? I mean, what do I say, everybody? We can turn thousands into hundreds, right? Well, you can also turn thousands into nothing.
Right.
So, I agree. There needs to be a little bit of a change in the sport. I think we all love it and we're all hooked by it, but, we're not willing to put our wallets on the line every day, right? I mean, it's too impending, right? Especially, I can't imagine somebody cooking their first couple of contests, going out to a contest where you got team of the year, and Jack Daniels winner. And, I mean, fast forward, we were out in Jersey and we had 3-time team of the year and getting basted. We had last year's team of the year. We had this year's team of the year, the American Royal winner. We had the Jack Daniels winner, right? And, I'm going out there with the attitude, I'm going to win this, right? I mean, that confidence you have to earn, right? And you don't get that in your first 5 cooks because, you're worried about process, timelines, taste. You're learning. So I don't know many people would put $1,000 or $2,000 down in front of that audience, right? Especially if they're not getting coached, right? So I don't know. We just got to find a way to make it more attractive. And I think, maybe a blur between the backyard and the pro with 1, 2, and 3 meat contests is where it goes.
Yeah, it could be because I think I just read the other day, and it's a shame because it's another Illinois competition that's gone by the wayside. Dwight's not going to have their competition next year, so I mean it's pretty much obviously the big one with Union Grove disappearing this last fall. That basically now in Illinois, I mean you're basically looking at Praise the Lard as your biggest competition of the year, and that's all the other ones have all disappeared. And I think they just can't get the teams to come out. So,
well, and there's another thing there. I think I'm a little frustrated. There's another contest that's looking to come aboard, but it's on the same weekend as Praise the Lard, about 2.5 hours north. And I'm like, boy, how about a different weekend? You know?
Right.
Well,
And
you know,
that's what I never understood, because I mean, obviously, praise. You think that a lot of these competitions, especially Praise the Lard, it's been going on for a long time. So if you're thinking of something in September that, you would be checking, like, okay, oh yeah, I remember there's always that Praise the Lard competition. When is that weekend? And
mhm,
you're going to compete for, there's only so many cooks, and you're going to compete for you're basically competing for the same customers. So it would be like,
yeah.
me opening up another Wannamakers in Lyle and being here in Downers Grove. It's like, well, I'm competing for the same customers. I mean, you're one's going to succeed and one's going to fail, because it's obviously this one here, since it's been here longer, is going to do better, and then the other one's not. So I
Well,
don't see
and
them
on
getting a
top of
lot of
that,
competitors on that weekend.
you're also competing for the judges now,
Right.
right? And we've had a lot of, struggle down there in Murfreesboro for whatever reason. Because to me, that's a destination cook and destination
Destination
judging.
cook. Yeah.
So I can't imagine, but we have, right? And they've had to scramble a bit. So I can't imagine with another contest on the weekend in Illinois, just a few hours north, that'll make it any better. So there's a concern there. But you think of Sean with Mission 0 There's 3 contests from last year. We did 2, rib burns here. So what we're going to see is that we've got to find a way to help the organizers break even and make money at a lower. I think Stephanie was at 35 to break even. If I read things, I don't know if it came from her or from one of the teams. The math
Union Grove,
yeah,
Grove or Dwight. Yeah,
Union
Grove.
Grove. I think it was 35.
Looking for 35. Right. That's a
Yeah,
lot
I
of
mean
teams.
that's a large number to break even, right? Now they have over the years been at 40 pretty consistently, right?
Right.
So you can point to the economy, you can point to whatever, right? Or point to everything, and they didn't make it, right? Well, I mean, unfortunately, that means the contest is gone because they didn't hit their number. So I think what we need to do, if I were on KCBS board, we need to have a way to nurture these teams and give them recipes, right? On how to make money at a lower risk, make money at 20 teams, right? Modify the payout at 25, modify the payout at 29, 30, right? So that you don't lose the contest because you didn't get 35, 40 teams, right?
Right.
So, I mean, Kansas City probably doesn't have the same pain we do. They have pain, but it's not the same pain, because you can go, any weekend you can go 90 miles and get a contest. Around here, you now have to drive hours to get a contest. We had in 2017, Illinois had 17 contests. Illinois. When we started last year before MZHH and all that, I think we had 5. And of course, I think one of them canceled. Then we got MZHH. Then we did the rib. So we made some dents in that. But I mean, there's just so many that have gone by the wayside. And there's twofold there. It's the financials, but it's also the burnout of the leadership team, right? If you don't have the following, the next generation to run that, look at Belvedere and Danny. And that's an awesome comp. Those guys did a great job. But if you can't rinse and reset after the one leader moves on, you don't have the workforce, it just dies, right? That was another great Illinois contest. Lincoln, Illinois, Belvedere, Kewanee, they just, it's disappointing, but I also think that means we're getting old.
Yeah, that could be too. Hold on one side. See, Emlyn, boy, my thing is just, this thing is just not working today. I can't get there it is. Emlyn said you'd be a great candidate for the addition to the KCBS board. Greg says he's done it twice as far as mentoring backyard teams to help them to make that leap up to the next level. He said he'd done that twice, and it's great to do. He got a lot of stuff out of doing that. And then he said here, like Royal Oak did recently, they provided the meats. Kel tried to do that years ago and teams revolted. So that was kind of another idea, is maybe making a competition similar to you would a steak cook-off thing, where the competition provides the meat. So this way everybody's using the same level and same grade of meat. And then Emlyn also said KCBS has to get younger. He also mentioned Belvedere is gone too. Yeah, we lost a lot of them. And then Greg also said even the Pig Jig in Vienna, Georgia, are begging for judges this upcoming weekend. So yeah, so judging across the country is an issue. And I guess quality and uniformity of judges, I guess, is a whole nother topic and a whole nother thing for a whole different day. But it just seems, and to your point of getting older, I can remember starting here. You came on board. There was Captain Ron's Brew and Crew. There was a designated smoking area, Brian Pollock, and then there was the Smoke Freaks were big into it. But there's a whole bunch of teams that Dwayne Creviston was with Rackmasters was in it. You had
Tim and
Dave
Sandy with
Catris.
Stress Relief.
Yep, and then I had Dave Catris. I can't remember what I almost want to say Mud Dogs. It might be wrong, but it might be what it was. But he was in it. A lot of these guys have retired. A lot of them have moved on to SCA just because there's just less of that investment. You're not hauling these big smoking rigs and things around. It's just easier to get in and get out. They're quick competitions. So maybe that's something else that needs to be looked at is and that's to my point is you're basically you got no minor leagues bringing new people into the
right.
I know we have a couple good ones here in the Chicago area in Brian Weiss with Weiss Grooven, and then we got the Schmack Q, the Whip brothers. So there's a lot of good young ones, but how do you get them to make that jump from backyard to go pro, where they're just not going to get their lunch handed to them every single day, and they don't feel like they just don't have the sponsors or the backing to be able to afford to buy high quality of meat to get that to work. So I think KCBS is kind of at an influx of what do they do to make this maybe a little bit more accessible to those guys that are just starting out. Because to me looking at it, it's a very expensive process for a one bite, three, like you said, easily dump $2,000 and you're basically going on one bite and you're walking away with nothing. Plus you got your gas and you got all your charcoal expenses and you got all that other stuff. It's an expensive proposition if you're not winning anything. Well, like you said, it's not all the costs. I mean, you got to, but then again, to add costs to it. Well, now you're going to take competition classes, which are all like $300 or $400. So you have to invest in that end to learn how to do it to make it to that next level. There's a whole bunch of different factors I think that are drawing into there's just no younger teams coming up.
Yeah, and I mean, I make it a point. There was two new teams next to me, one in Ohio, one in New Jersey, and Lumberjack Barbecue was one in Ohio. And, I just remember those days vividly, right? I mean, mind you, for me, it was like 110 degrees in the shade, no air conditioning. But here it was pouring down rain, and these guys are troopers over there, and they're, trying to make boxes. So, whoever's doing the box, I told her to come on in and I'll show you how I do my box. And I showed her how I kind of cheat at it by using a plate to put on top of the kale so it flattens out. So that way I don't have to worry about spending on getting it perfect. And then after each category, I would take a couple pieces of, chicken, a couple pieces of ribs, some pork over there. So they knew what I was doing, have no idea if I'm going to do well that day or not, but they know what I've been doing. Right.
Right.
And at the end of the day, they came over and thanked me. I gave them some product and I said, look, call me. Right. Right. But that's, I think as pros, if we're not open to the nurturing process, then our sport is going to go the way, it is headed. So we have to do more and more and more. It's not where we just go out, compete and head down and go. I know people complained about back in the day when the freaks and all of us were out there. I mean, we'd get there Thursday night, would have dinner, potlucks. There was a lot more openness. Trailers have kind of taken that away. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have to, though, right? I tend to keep my trailer door open, even though I have, put the heater by the door so that I am approachable, when people walk by.
Right, right.
But we just got to keep the sport to be, unintimidating as much as it isn't. I remember my first contest with Lincoln, Illinois. I pulled up, Q out, team of the year, right? Next to him is a $250,000 rig. Next to them is, there's no place like Smoke, Wade Reeder, and then it's 5 o'clock somewhere. These are teams, and I'm like, and I pull up with a flatbed, a 1986 2500 Chevy with 3 different smokers, and everything I own in the back of my truck, right?
Right.
And they're asking me, "Are you in the right place?" Which doesn't make you feel warm, right? How many meats are you
right.
cooking? We're cooking 4. Good luck.
Yeah.
But I mean, trust me, I was intimidated, right? And I was more intimidated when I realized, I was the Beverly Hillbillies.
Right.
And that has never left my mind. So when I see teams next to me, Red, White, and Bacon, and those guys from, the competitor series and that, it's our job as ambassadors and cooks to keep sport going.
Yeah, I agree. And then Greg was also mentioned he's been judging since 1999. It's harder to get new teams to even make the switch from backyard to pro, which we were just talking about. Um, so it's actually it's a national problem. I mean, Greg's not from around here. It's a national problem and I think everybody just has to do it. You're like your thing, and just have to remember barbecue family and remember where everybody started from, and not every you weren't always sitting there with the big rig, and that somebody's got to come up behind you. I guess you can say at some point even Michael Jordan's got to retire, so and someone's got to carry on behind you. So I mean, it's like you have to be able to pass that along that excitement and that fire to move up for the next generation. If we truly want to pass the torch along from one generation to the next generation, just as we got excited with the Johnny Triggs and some of the other guys that came before us, and then now this is our time. But if the sport's going to succeed, we got to be able to keep everybody. Otherwise it's all going to be gone, and then it's then what? Everybody talks about how great it was. So. But Paul, great to see you again. We are thinking of maybe trying to plan a stocking stuffer event up here in December. I will let you know. I always just let you know. I also don't want you to make such a huge drive for an event that I don't know how it's going to turn out. But I know you're always willing to come up and demo if you think it's worth it, and your wife will let you. But so I'll be shooting something towards you in a little bit and see if you're interested. If not, we'll definitely see you. Are you going to the gala next week for MZHH?
So that's this week.
Oh, that's this week. That's right.
Yeah, and it was a difficult decision, but because I'm still in the hunt for that $35,000 for JD.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to go down to Louisiana. I've been chatting with Sean. I've been telling him, once I'm eliminated, I'm eliminated. But it's still possible, and I'd hate to pass up on that opportunity. But yeah, no, it was painful to not be there, so I won't be there. I think Emlyn has an event coming up as well for veterans. You might want to plug.
Oh yeah,
maybe
he's
Emlyn
got which is, but it's actually with these guys here, Operation Barbecue Relief. It's actually in Joliet. I think if you go to the It's All About the Barbecue group, it's in there. It is in the Joliet area. You can go to operationbbqrelief.org. It should be up on there somewhere. It is to help feed veterans and that kind of stuff. So if you're looking to help out and looking to sign up as an Operation Barbecue Relief a volunteer, which I highly recommend, as you can tell from my lovely banner and from my jacket, I'm a big supporter of it. Volunteer a lot with them. And do as much as I can to help promote them as well. But so if you're looking for something to do on the 11th, feel free to jump in and help us out. So, Paul, good to see you. I'll let you get back to whatever the retirement tour is leading you at today. But it was great seeing you as always.
Yep, and I'll try and get that new product out before Christmas to you.
You got it. Look forward to hearing it and seeing it. Hearing it. I won't hear it, but I can't look forward to seeing it.
I'll put one of those chips in it that it sings.
So, all right, my friend. See ya. Paul Buob, Smokin Ghost Barbecue. If you have not tried his products, please come on in and give them a try. They are awesome. They're spectacular. And he is one of our, obviously, Chillicothe is right around the Peoria area. So I do consider him local. Gene wanted to tell us both that we did a great job today. Great show. Thanks for this, and safe travels to Paul as he travels around to chase that stuff. So, um, sauces are absolutely wonderful. Spooky sweet. I do like the haunted heat. I do like a little kick on my barbecue. So, like you said, this one does have some heat, but it's not a burn your face off heat. So this is my recommended choice, haunted heat, as always. If you're not into any kind of a spicy, then the spooky sweet is awesome as well. Happy Halloween, everybody. A couple things we got going on. We did our holiday meats class this weekend. It went absolutely fantastic and well. Everybody had a great time. Everybody was full. I got to take home lots of food because this is one of the few classes that we teach where there's a lot of food left over because there's so much of it. We did get the class schedule ready for the spring. We will have January 27th will be brisket. February 24th will be pork and ribs. And March 16th will be our grill master class. So those are right now only on Risky Brisket. They are in the process of getting put up on all of the Wannemaker social media. So be looking for those coming up. I will post them on the page here as soon as I find them up there and available because we are always made co-host of the event. Obviously the MZHH Gala is coming up this weekend, I believe. And so if you're looking to do something fun and get involved in that charity, feel free to look that up at mzhh.org and buy yourself some tickets to go to it. It is a great organization. And then on November 11th, we also have two things going on. We're here at Wannamakers. We got our Christmas open house. So you can come in and do that and you can shop for Christmas. Santa will be here. And no, I am not Santa Claus in the Santa suit. It is somebody else. We always have an awesome looking Santa. And we will also be doing, if you are in the Plainfield area and you are so inclined to join us, we will be doing a barbecue love stop at Station 1 Smokehouse in Plainfield at 11 o'clock. So a lot of things. Show went a little longer than I thought it was going to today, but that's all right. It's a good conversation with Paul. Come on in, shop the store. Christmas here is all over. And then, of course, we have, I don't know how you want to do it backwards. Like we have the wall here behind me. Where we have all your barbecue needs here in the department. But if you're looking for something, it's here. So look forward for upcoming events. Oh, and I just want to announce, I believe Saturday, we'll have Rackmaster's Barbecue will be here in the barbecue department sampling his rubs and sauces. So come on out and support Dwayne Crevison from Rackmasters. I will get that event up probably sometime today. And that's it. Everybody have a great day. And as always, please be kind and courteous to all your retail and service workers. They are doing the best they can in the situations they are in, and just be patient. It's going to start getting busier everywhere, and let's just be patient and enjoy and not get all cranky and yelly and rude. So that's the normal thing, because after all, it's what makes us different that makes us great. So with that, I will see you guys next week. I don't have a guest yet, but we will find one. And have a great Tuesday. It is haircut day for Steve. So that's where I'm heading right now, is to get my haircut. Have a good day, everybody.